New member welcome. Welcome to your new position in our restaurant. We're excited that you're working with us. We take pride in our work and can't wait to show you around because we think you'll be a great fit. Restaurant jobs are never boring. They can be challenging, but unlike school or office jobs, you will never be bored watching the minutes tick by. Once the rush of guests hits, 3 or 4 hours might pass in the blink of an eye. Restaurants are alive, with great people who know how to laugh and enjoy life. Don't hesitate to introduce yourself to all your new coworkers. We work as a team here and are happy to have you on board. Thanks in advance for all your hard work and great attitude. You make the difference. We're happy you're here because you make the difference. Your enthusiasm, personality, smile, and character are all unique. There is no one else who is exactly like you, and believe it or not, that means you're an asset to our team. It's that vibrant mix that equips our team to make every customer a happy customer. We want you to feel at home working in our restaurant because we hope you'll be welcoming guests like you would in your own home. Smile with the guests, engage with them, and make them feel valued. As customers, we all know that we prefer going to places that value our business. Of course, every successful restaurant has a team of great people running it. But just because you are one of many doesn't mean you don't make all the difference with our guests. Your hospitality, your personality, and your professionalism draw them back time and time again. So even though lots of people can learn the skills we're going to teach you, no one else will do your job quite like you, and we're counting on that fact to keep customers coming back. So thank you for bringing your unique personality to our team. Each individual makes our team stronger and more ready to impress any customer who walks through the door. Customer service basics. Food is the reason a guest picks out a restaurant, but great customer service is why a guest comes back. In fact, some argue that good service in a restaurant is more important than good food. Grocery stores sell food, after all, and it's cheaper there, but restaurants can sell service. What is service? Service simply means doing things to make the guest feel valued. We want all of our guests to feel important because they are. They are the reason we can keep opening our doors every day. The most critical part of service in the hospitality industry is simple. Smile. Smiling lets the guests know that you're happy to see them in the restaurant. A smile is part of the uniform. Also, make eye contact when speaking with a guest. This will assure them that you are engaged with what they are saying. You can also achieve great customer service by putting yourself in the guest's shoes. What would you want if you were spending money to eat out? How would you want to be greeted? How would you want your food handed to you? How clean would you like your table to be when you sat down? A restaurant runs as a team. That means if you see a guest who needs assistance, you help. Guest satisfaction is everyone's responsibility. If a guest is looking for the bathroom, show them where it is. If a guest spilled a drink, clean it up right away. If a guest is looking for a place to sit, show them an open table. Kids are often ignored in a restaurant. Talk to kids. Their parents will be proud to see their kids interacting with others. The guest is our top priority, so socializing with coworkers in view of the guests is prohibited. If a guest is waiting on service, they will not appreciate watching employees socializing. Never chat in the dining room. Always try to say yes to a guest. If a guest makes a request, try to accommodate it. If you cannot accommodate that specific request, tell the guest why you cannot and make another offer that might be suitable. Don't argue with a guest. If a guest is upset, listen to their complaint, apologize and fix it right away if you can, or get a manager to help. Great customer service is essential to keeping our restaurants going. Always make guests feel welcome and comfortable. Always try to accommodate special requests since these will impress the guest. If we make the entire dining experience wonderful for each guest, they will recommend us to their friends. Speed and efficiency. Being efficient at your job will make you and your guests happy. Restaurants can be very fast-paced and exciting, but if you're not efficient, it might soon become overwhelming. Here are 3 ideas for becoming a more efficient team member. 1. Set up for success. There will be times throughout the day when there are few customers. During these slow times, you should be working just as hard as the busy times, taking advantage of the opportunity to prepare. Look around. Are the napkins stocked? Is the soda machine ready? How is the product on the line? When you look around at the details of the restaurant, you'll see lots of little items that require attention. Take care of those details now while you have extra time, rather than during a rush when guests are piling up. Being self-motivated enough to work through the lulls will give you a smoother, happier shift. 2. Set up for consistency. Make sure your station is set up to work for you. If you're on the register, make sure the drawer is organized in the same manner from day to day. If you're on the line, make sure the condiments and other ingredients are arranged in the same place they always are. Working in a consistent, organized way from day to day will help you work quickly. 3. Keep it clean. Your workstation must stay clean throughout your shift. It is essential that after every 1 or 2 orders you reorganize, wipe down, and clean up. When a workstation is disorganized and messy, it loses its functionality. It might be hard to keep the station clean at first while you learn the ins and outs of your position, but if you make this a priority and a habit, it will help you in the long run. Service recovery. Most customers leave our restaurant totally satisfied, but once in a while, for whatever reason, we don't meet their expectations. Let's learn how to handle guest complaints to turn an unfortunate situation into a great service recovery with a positive outcome for the guest. The best way to deal with a guest complaint is to blast through it. The acronym BLAST stands for Believe, Listen, Apologize, Satisfy, and Thank. Believe. You need to believe what the guest is telling you, or at the very least, believe they feel wronged and are upset. Let the guest tell you what happened. Listen carefully so that you really know what the complaint is about. Don't jump to conclusions or cut the guest short. Listen to their whole story. Apologize. Even though the guest complaint probably isn't directed towards you, you should apologize on behalf of the restaurant. Start by telling the guest that you understand their feelings and end by simply saying, "We're sorry." For example, "I understand why you are frustrated that your order was wrong. I'm very sorry." Satisfy. Whatever happened, we need to make it right so they walk out the door happy. If it is a simple fix, go ahead and handle it yourself. Whether we need to comp part of their meal or offer them a new dish is up to the manager, but it is imperative that the guest leave happy. Finally, thank the guest for bringing the issue to your attention. It's better that a customer complains to you rather than leaves without saying anything. Always remember that some of the most loyal customers restaurants have are people who had a bad experience efficiently and satisfactorily resolved by a team member. If a guest complains, think of it as a challenge to turn the situation right side up and make a raving fan out of the customer. One important note: never blame another team member for what happened. You may be short-staffed or someone may be new, but don't mention it. The staffing issues of the restaurant are not the guest's problem or concern. Just apologize and move on. If you take responsibility on behalf of the restaurant, the guests will appreciate it. Cash register. When you work the cash register, you're the face of the restaurant, the person who interacts most with the customer. So be friendly, welcoming, efficient, and helpful to each guest so that they leave with a positive memory of their visit. When people are ordering, they are often distracted by the menu. Sometimes you might say, "How are you?" and then they might ignore you and just start ordering. This can be frustrating, but give the guest the benefit of the doubt. Most likely, they are a nice person and just distracted by the ordering process. Don't let these little irritations upset you. Always repeat the order back to the guest. When giving the total to the guest, make sure to say "please." For example, "That comes to $27.43, please." And when you receive money, make sure to say "thank you." When a person hands you a bill, make sure to vocalize what that bill is. For example, if you say $12.76, please, and they hand you a $20 bill, say "out of 20, thank you." When the drawer is open and you're making change, lay the bill or bills that the person is paid with horizontally across the drawer. Give them their change, and only after that, put the bills in place and close the drawer. This is an important technique to avoid confusion and fraud. If a guest hands you a 10 and you put it in the drawer before giving them the change, they might say, "Didn't I give you a 20? This might be an accident or it might be a scam. Either way, keep the customer's money separate from your money until the transaction is complete. When making change for the customer, be sure to count it out for them. You don't have to be fancy and count it up from the total, but you should at least read them the total change that they are receiving according to the register and then count it out into their hand. Guests want to know that they are receiving the correct amount, so don't just hand it all back at once. Be sure to keep your cash drawer organized. All the bills should face the same way. Keep larger bills and extra envelopes under the tray inside the drawer. And keep an eye on how much change you have. A lull in business is a great time to check to make sure you have enough ones, fives, tens, and coins. A good rule of thumb is to have at least 20 ones, 10 fives, and 10 tens. Also, be sure to have a healthy amount of quarters, some in the well, and a backup roll just in case. Of course, handling money is an important skill and we want you to know how to do it right. So if you have any questions about the register, be sure to ask your team lead. Product consistency. The most important part of creating happy customers is meeting expectations. And the best way to meet those expectations is by being consistent with our products. For example, if someone orders a dessert for the first time and we put 2 cherries on it rather than just the usual 1 cherry, they might think that's awesome. But what happens when that person comes back to order that same dessert and it comes out with only 1 cherry, which is the standard after all? It's still a perfectly good sundae, but they're going to feel disappointed. Keeping our products consistent from visit to visit, day to day, will assure that our guests always feel satisfied. We want strict consistency in our restaurant because people like to know what to expect. Even something seemingly small, like an extra cherry, can create an expectation that might not be met on the next visit. And when we don't meet expectations, we disappoint our guests. But when we provide a consistent and predictably great product, our guests will trust us and become regulars. Be sure to know the standards of every product and stick to them. Uniform and appearance. We take pride in our image and appreciate when employees take pride in theirs too. So we want you to come to work looking and feeling your best. Here are our top tips for keeping your uniform in great shape and your appearance fresh. 1. Keep your uniform washed and hang it up. Avoid stuffing your uniform in a drawer. It will keep its form and stay better looking longer if you hang it up after washing. 2. If needed, iron your uniform before your shift. 3. Take pride in your appearance. Make sure your hair is neat, and if it is long enough, pull it back. 4. Don't wear earrings larger than a quarter. Keep jewelry down to a minimum for health and safety reasons. 5. Remember that working in restaurants can be hard work. Don't forget the deodorant. Remember that our guests want to see us neat and clean because that indirectly assures them that their food was made in a clean and safe way. Our image of cleanliness is very important, and if your uniform and appearance don't meet our standards, you may be sent home. Remember, when you look and feel good, you will have a better, smoother, and happier shift. Thank you for taking great care of yourself so that you can take great care of our guests. Counter service. Unlike lots of restaurants where the food preparation is in the kitchen, out of view of guests, our food prep can be seen by everyone in the restaurant. For this reason, it is especially important for us to keep the area clean, organized, and wiped down. Guests will be judging the quality of the food on the cleanliness of the restaurant and especially the cleanliness of the counter. Leaving wet rags on the counter is unsanitary and a common health code violation. While we should be cleaning the counter with sanitary rags and the proper solution often, we can never leave the rags sitting on the counter, even for a moment. The rag needs to be either in your hand or in the sani bucket. Never store any of your personal items, including your phone or your keys, on the countertop. You will be provided with a designated area for keeping your belongings. Any trash can, especially those in view of the guest, should be emptied regularly. We never want an overflowing trash can in view. Be aware of the cleanliness and organization of the counter and workspace around it. Guests are noticing our work habits, and we want to put our best foot forward. Cleaning the dining room. Cleaning the dining room is about much more than cleaning tables. Your job is to clean anything that is dirty, but also to notice those little details. Each table should be clean and welcoming for the guests. When you clear the table, do it quickly, but don't disturb the other tables in the restaurant by making too much noise. Wipe the top of the table and around the edges too. Wipe down the salt and pepper shakers, sugar packet holder, or other condiments on the table. Also, check to make sure there is still enough of each condiment for the next guests. Check the seats and give those a wipe down if you notice any crumbs. Check the floor around the table. If you notice crumbs or napkins on the floor, do a gentle sweep around the table. Don't disturb the guests around you by sweeping too forcefully. Push the chairs in to make them neat and orderly. Be sure to keep your busing station clean and keep your cleaning tools out of the way of guests. Be careful not to disturb the surrounding tables as you clean. And always take the trash out before it gets too full. Creating a clean and welcoming dining room for our guests is a great way to show that we care. Teamwork. Restaurants run on teamwork. Think about how impossible it would be to run a restaurant on your own. You'd have to take the order, prepare the food, and clean the table. That's why restaurants rely on their employees to work together. But what does it mean to have great teamwork in our restaurant? Here's the two-part answer. First, ask your coworkers if they need assistance. And second, ask for assistance when you need it. If you see a coworker in a hurry and you happen to have an extra minute, go ahead and ask them what you could do to help. Or, if you see a good way to help a busy coworker, go ahead and lend a hand without being asked. If you find yourself falling behind, don't be shy to ask somebody for assistance. It's better to ask for help when you start falling behind so that you can catch up easily, rather than waiting until you are really behind. Don't make guests wait for service unnecessarily. Ask a coworker for help if there is a guest that you are unable to assist right away. If you are always ready to lend a hand to a coworker, they will remember that and return the favor. A good restaurant employee is always asking coworkers, "Need anything?" Start asking that question and you'll be amazed by how much faster and more efficient work flows at a restaurant. The small profit margin. A positive work environment means an ethical one. Removing food or anything else from the restaurant without permission is stealing. A restaurant only earns between 3 and 6% profit. That means for every dollar in sales, the restaurant keeps between 3 and 6 cents. The rest of the money made goes to employee wages, food costs, and utilities. Because of that tight budget, be careful not to break equipment or drop product. Taking food from the line, the walk-in, or storage can endanger the restaurant's profitability and is strictly prohibited. We know working around food while you are hungry is difficult, so always bring a snack to work. It will keep you in good spirits throughout your shift. Restaurants are expensive operations, and we appreciate your help in sticking to a tight budget. Personal care. The first step to taking great care of our guests is taking great care of yourself. Be sure to arrive to work ready for your shift in a fresh uniform, well-groomed, and with a full stomach. You're an essential team member and you deserve to feel your best on your shift, but we know that life can be stressful. Some people find that taking a few deep breaths helps shift gears when you get to work. Try to reset your mind. Instead of thinking about life outside the restaurant, try instead to think about how to best take care of guests. Eating nutritiously and sleeping enough should be top priorities for you. Restaurant work is demanding, and being healthy will help you enjoy your shift more, avoid taking costly time off for illness, and help to reduce stress. We want our employees to take good care of themselves because that helps support our team, our restaurant, but most importantly you. We care about all our team members and wish you success, health, and happiness. Pride in your work. Hospitality employees should take immense pride in their work. Every day, people just like you, in restaurants and hotels around the world, welcome people into their establishments to offer them life-giving food, a break from everyday stress, a smile, a laugh, or a home away from home. Hospitality means caring for humankind and providing for their needs. Every employee of every restaurant, from the cashier to the food prep to the manager, should take great pride in their job. Hospitality connects communities to their core values, shows humanity at its best, and puts a smile on the faces of millions of people every day. Restaurants are a place for people to come together, talk with their friends, and meet their neighbors. We want you to feel pride in your work because you deserve to. You are an integral part of connecting people together and providing them with what everyone needs: food. Thank you for being a member of our team and helping us give our guests welcoming, memorable hospitality. Cleanliness and safety. Safety is a top priority because restaurants can be dangerous if employees are careless. But if we all act in a safe way, the chances of accidents are greatly reduced. Wet floors are a common hazard in a restaurant. If the floor gets wet, get a wet floor sign right away to keep guests and employees safe. People often move quickly through a restaurant. If you are passing behind or near a coworker in a restaurant, announce yourself by saying "behind you" or "beside you." If someone announces behind or beside to you, respond by saying "heard." This will cut down on bumps that could send something crashing to the ground. Walking quickly is fine, but running is unsafe. Never run in the restaurant. Cleanliness is a part of safety. We want our kitchen and dining room to meet all of our strict sanitation standards. Even slight sanitation violations that wouldn't impact most people can cause life-threatening illnesses in young children, the elderly, or people with weak immune systems. Remember that our restaurant should be safe and welcoming to all, regardless of age or health condition. Wash your hands frequently. Always wash hands thoroughly after using the bathroom or taking a break. Washing your hands will help keep you and our guests healthy. Cough or sneeze into your arm and away from guests and food. Chewing gum is not allowed. Never eat where food is prepared. Eat snacks or meals in designated areas only. Wet or damp rags should never be left on the countertop or on top of a spray bottle. Keep wet rags in a bucket filled with sanitation water. Leaving wet rags on any surface is against health code and one of the most common citations that restaurants receive. Other common front-of-house citations involve substandard personal hygiene, overflowing trash bins, failure to wash hands when appropriate, and placing personal belongings on work counters or in other improper places. Health inspectors can walk into the restaurant at any time, so always be prepared. If a health inspector does come into the restaurant, alert the manager right away so that they can verify the inspector's badge. Thank you for working in a safe and sanitary manner for the benefit of our team members and our guests. Staying busy. The biggest trick to keeping your shift manageable and smooth is staying busy. Even when the restaurant is slow, you should find a way to get ahead of the rush. Prepare by making sure everything that you and your guests will need is well stocked. Make sure everything is cleaned and in its place. Notice every detail you can. Does your cash register have enough change? Do you have enough backup for the line? Are all the tables cleaned? Look around and make sure you're ready for the next rush. By doing that, you'll make the shift easier for yourself and smoother for your guests. Noticing the little things. Have you ever been to a restaurant and noticed something small that just wasn't right, like a dirty windowsill or crooked picture on the wall? Did that affect the way you saw the restaurant? Guests often notice tiny problems with cleanliness, organization, and aesthetics. And whether consciously or not, they judge the restaurant from the moment they drive into the parking lot. We need to notice those little details before the guests do. Sometimes it's difficult to see the restaurant where you work through the eyes of a guest, but once or twice a shift, take a hard look around the different parts of your section. Is the base of the cash register dusty? Is the counter damaged? Is the menu board crooked? Take a few minutes on every shift to fix the little things that are dirty or out of place. And if something is damaged, let the team lead know. We always want our restaurant to look good, and with your help, we can keep the place looking shipshape and put our best foot forward for our guests. How to say it. Remember when you were a kid and you learned all about saying please and thank you? That will come in handy at our restaurant. We want our team members to be using these words with the guests in all interactions. When you tell the guest the total of a bill, be sure to include please. For example, that comes to $5.43, please. When a guest hands you a payment, be sure to say thank you. And when a guest says thank you, be sure to follow up with "you're welcome." Never substitute "you're welcome" with "mm-hmm." Always say "you're welcome." Avoid saying "no problem" or "sure." These can sound like you're annoyed, even if you aren't. Instead, say something like "I'm happy to," "my pleasure," "absolutely," or "of course." Try not to say no to a guest. It would be better to offer a suggestion instead of just saying no. "We don't carry potato chips, but we could substitute corn chips for you instead." Refer to guests as gentlemen or ladies instead of guys or girls, and address guests by sir, miss, or ma'am. If you use elevated, respectful language with the guests, you will have better, more respectful interactions with them, and they will feel appreciated. Assisting new employees. Right now, you're a new employee learning the ins and outs of our restaurant. But soon enough, you'll be watching as new team members come in for their own first day. It's the responsibility of everyone on the team to welcome them, help with their training, answer questions, and set the tone of an ethical, positive workplace. We want all our team members to assist each other, help when someone is falling behind, fill in for a shift here or there for a sick coworker, and generally encourage and support each other. When a new employee comes into the restaurant, be sure to introduce yourself. Let them know the tricks you've learned that help you have a smooth shift. Make sure they know where they can check the schedule, request days off, and store their personal belongings. It boils down to this: just as you make our guests feel welcome every day, make sure you make the new employees feel the same. Only together, as a team, are we able to face the challenges of running a successful restaurant. Thank you for helping to foster that sense of teamwork with all your coworkers.